Welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. I appreciate your patience with our intermittent filming. Life has been really crazy lately with our son being in multiple shows and working, and us both working too. So anyway, tonight I'm going to show you a pot pie recipe, and it's adapted from the Pillsbury chicken pot pie recipe. And I'm adapting it for what I have on hand, which happens to be some fully cooked ground pork from a can. I've rinsed off the juices and fat that came with it. And then I'm going to use some canned mixed vegetables.
Oh, okay.
And some beef broth I made from the powdered bouillon I had in the cabinet. So you can adapt a lot of recipes to what you have on hand. You don't need to be fancy to feed your family. Just take what you have, and if you have a recipe or something that you're thinking you would like to make, you can adapt it for what you have on hand. You just need to be a little flexible with your ingredients. I had anticipated using some leftover beef from Father's Day, but that got ate up, so I decided to go with the ground pork. So I'm going to heat this up in the pan. I just put a little bit of nonstick spray because pork is kind of lean and it doesn't have a lot of fat. So I'm just going to heat it through. It's already cooked. It just needs to be heated through because it tends to stick to itself. Kind of like tuna fish. It needs to be mixed up and broken up and heated up. It'll just taste better that way. And then after that's heated up, I'm going to pull it out of the saucepan, put it in this little bowl for the time being, then make a roux out of melted butter and flour. And since I don't have chopped onion, I'm going to use some powdered onion and some garlic, salt, and pepper to season the roux. And we're going to initially melt the butter with the spices, then the flour, actually melt the butter, then add the flour and spices, then gradually add the milk in, a half a cup of milk, and then 2 cups of chicken broth, or beef broth since I'm going with a beef theme.
So what is a roux?
A roux is a cream sauce.
Okay.
And it serves as a base for many things, like if you were to make homemade mac and cheese, you would make a cream sauce. You first melt butter, or saute onions in melted butter, then add flour, let it thicken, then add milk, let it thicken, and then gradually add broth to make a sauce or a soup base.
Okay.
So I'm just going to heat through this ground pork. It'll just taste better if it's heated through before mixing into the pot pie. So we'll let that cook. So, and then what we're going to do, we'll preheat the oven, so by the time the sauce is ready to make the filling, then we can assemble the pie and then put it in the oven. So it's 425, and it does take a good 40-45 minutes to bake, but the hotter the temperature, the less baking time. So do double check at about the 30-minute mark, and we'll let you know when it's done how long it took. So let me get the oven going. Alright, make sure I don't have anything in there. Oh. Alright, so what I can do while that's browning is get the pot pie ready. This is just a simple 2-crust pie dough. You find it in the refrigerated section at your grocery store. You know, as much as I love homemade, this is super easy, and it only costs a couple dollars. And it's a big time saver. So this is something you can pull together quickly when you come home from work. You can get the pie going, and then while it bakes, you can rest and do a reset at the end of your day, and then come back when it's ready And it would go well with a nice side salad or something. And ideally, you should let your pie crust sit out at room temperature for at least 30 minutes. I didn't let it sit out as long, so it's sticking to itself a little bit and breaking. But just kind of stretch it so it comes all the way up the sides, because you want to make sure that when you put the top crust on, the bottom crust is high enough so when they meet, you don't have seepage of the filling coming out. So that's what I'm doing now, is just making sure that the bottom crust is all the way up and this crust is breaking. But we're gonna work with what we got. And there we go. Okay.
So what do you do if your pie crust breaks?
You just squish it together.
You squish it together. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And that's the fancy term, squish it together.
Squish it together.
So I'm going to take out the pork. It's heated through and it's browned a little bit. It just tastes better. It kind of tastes like Spam without the curing seasoning in it. It's kind of hard to describe, but anybody who's tasted Spam, you know, will know what canned meat tastes like. And honestly, it's truly like a blank canvas. I mean, we've made chili with this stuff. We've made spaghetti sauce. We made cheeseburger mac and cheese, sloppy joes. You know, you use what you have and make do with it.
Just out of curiosity, where did we get all this nice ground pork, canned pork?
We got it from a commodities giveaway because things are a little tight lately because everybody is suffering from this crazy inflation. Oh, come on. I'll just pause for a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, screw it. Let me do this burner. I just don't have the patience for this right now. Alright. So, with my luck, it'll flame up, and I don't want to deal with that right now. Alright. So, we're going to melt the butter. It's really a complex process of melting butter.
Melting rather quickly, too.
That's because the pan's already hot. So, we're going to melt the butter. Get a little silicone tool to melt the butter. And you don't want it to be too hot because you can burn your butter and it doesn't taste good that way. So,
You can burn butter?
Yep. And put the flour in, a third cup of flour.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yep. Anything can burn. Which is why we all wear sunscreen when we go on vacation.
That is true.
There's no need to get sunburns. Modern technology has made perfect, easy to find, easy to apply sunscreen. Alright. So anybody who gets sunburned on vacation ain't trying very hard. Alright. Because both my parents have had skin cancer and I don't want to continue on that trend.
So what are these that you're putting in?
I'm putting in garlic salt, onion powder, because I don't have fresh onion to put in it. So we're using what we have on hand. Thanks to the state of California, we had a very huge registration fee for a very basic family minivan. So we've had to stretch our grocery budget with a little help because we spent most of it on our registration. As the state of California, most people are leaving California rather than moving to California. It used to be the Golden State, now it's the escape from state.
Okay.
So, and then after, so if you want to lean in there, you get the sauce thickening a little bit. So just let it thicken, and when it's tightened up to where it looks almost dried out, then you start adding the other liquid. This is basically how you make a roux, which is the base for a cream sauce.
And how long does it take to make?
Probably about 15 minutes altogether, but it really doesn't take too long. So by the time the onion is warmed up, the onion oven, this thing we're cooking it in.
Yeah.
Life's been crazy lately. My brain's a little fried. Okay.
And I see you're putting it in a little by little.
Yes, little by little. So if you lean in, you can see that it's getting clumpy.
Oh yeah.
So basically the flour is cooking so it doesn't have a raw taste. So, and I think I might switch over to the whisk at this point just to get it broken up. All right.
So, just out of curiosity, there goes the broth.
Yeah.
That's beef broth.
Beef broth, just from the powdered bouillon.
So, okay, I was going to ask you, can you make a pot pie out of anything, any meat?
You can use any leftover meat. Pretty much the origin of a pot pie, kind of like a shepherd's pie, was to use up what you had on hand to make into another meal. So that's why it's a good way to use up leftover meat, leftover vegetables. This actually called for frozen vegetables, but I had canned, so you use what you have. This is one of those meals where you can pull together with what you have on hand usually.
I mean, the reason I ask is because obviously the two most popular, or actually three most popular pot pies is, of course, chicken, beef, and turkey. So
Yeah. So pretty much if you're using a turkey pot pie, you would use turkey broth or chicken broth, because poultry broth tends to taste better with poultry. And I'm using beef broth mainly because I'm out of chicken. Plus, this pork is kind of like a blank slate, so it'll take up whatever flavor you mix it in with. So this is how you make a soup base or a cream sauce for your pot pie. See, it's gradually thickening up, and as it thickens, you add in a little bit more broth. Now it's thickening up. Oh, yeah. Let me see if this burner is actually going to work this time. I don't know what bug crawled up its butt, so I'm going to leave that alone for now.
I'd rather not die.
It's our default burner for everything. So I don't think I need all of this broth. It called for like 1.5 to 1 3/4, and I just made up 2 cups. So that sauce is pretty thickened now. So I'm going to dump in the ground pork that I heated up in the pan. And then I'm going to switch back to the... Actually, I'm going to use the spoon this time. See, it's making kind of a creamy sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'm going to put in 2 cans of the mixed veg. I think that'll be enough. Dahlia will get the 3rd can that I opened up because she's been super hungry. And she's not burning enough calories, so figure I'll feed her veg to fill her up. Yeah, that looks good. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we now have pot pie filling. And it sounds wet and soupy, which sounds great. And that's enough vegetables. And the oven is at temperature. I'm just checking to make sure this handle isn't too hot to handle. So I'm going to dump this in the pan here. Oh, sorry, my left hand is my weakest hand. All right. So you can smell the spices in the broth.
Oh, yeah. And the dog came over hoping you'd drop something.
She can help. All right. So, as you can see, that made a nice deep broth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a cookie sheet to bake it. Because that way, if it flows over in the oven, it won't spill out into the oven. It'll be on the cookie sheet.
Yeah.
So that's how we put cookie sheets underneath casseroles. Yep, Dahlia is like, she's, it's like the song from the Police. Every breath you take, every bite you take, I'll be watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you want to make sure you have both the base layer of the crust
Mm-hmm.
and the top layer of crust. Kind of smush them together, so that way you're sealing the filling in.
Okay.
It'll be less likely to bubble over and bubble out. And then after we seal it, we can go back and make it look pretty. So this is the fancy way of just doing the little thumb twists here. Now we're competing with a dog that is overly curious about what's going on here. But we have discovered a good way to burn off her energy. She loves chasing balls in the backyard. So before work and after work, I take her out and play with her, because she is a very busy dog and needs someone to play with her. Right, Dahlia? Alright.
I like it when you play with me.
She literally gallops when she runs. Forget a quick trot, jog. Nope, she gallops. I think she was getting ready for the Preakness or something. Alright. So, now that we've made our crust look pretty, you always want to vent your crust. So take a paring knife and just make some slits like that. This is so as it cooks, the steam can escape.
And so I have to ask, what would happen if you get the splits?
You would get a very swollen crust that would kind of break and look ugly. So this is the sheet pan I'm going to put it on. This pan is at least 30 to 40 years old. It's been around the block a few times. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven at 425, and when it's done, we will bring you back and show you how beautiful golden it looks and let you know exactly how long it took in the oven. So make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback, and we'll see you again in a few minutes. All right, welcome back, and our pot pie has baked for about 40 minutes. The first 30 minutes were without any cover on it, and at that 10 minutes ago I covered it up because the crust was getting dark. So what this is what's called a pie ring, and normally on a standard sized pie crust it would be big enough. However, this is a larger pie pan, so it didn't quite fit, so I figured I'd use it to hold down the foil rather than trying to make a little ring from the foil. So anyway, this is what our pot pie looks like. The crust did get a little done, so I think next time I'd put foil on it from the outset and then take it off toward the very end, because I've done that with other pies and that's worked. So anyway, we're going to let this cool off a fair bit, and then we'll bring you back for the taste test. And now we're going to dish up the pot pie, and I let it sit out for about an additional 15 minutes to cool off just a little bit. So I'll break through the crust here. I'd use the pie server, but it's a little on the thick side, so this usually works better.
The pie server's on the thick side, or the pie crust is on the thick side?
No, the pie itself is a little on the thick side, so it works better with the spoon. So, see the nice filling. We got the meat and the potatoes, nice and steamy.
That is really nice.
Yeah. So let me scoop up another one that can cool off. So you can see how steamy good it is. So let me get a fork and then you can do a taste test.
All right. Oh, here he comes.
All right.
There he is, man of the hour. Hey, Tyler.
Now it's hot, so just blow on it.
So this is like telling me it's beautiful.
Yes, it's beautiful. Why don't we turn around so we're not looking at the trash can here?
Well, we're not looking at the trash can. We're looking at Tyler.
Yeah. It's steaming hot goodness.
It's so hot, it might burn my mouth. Hot.
Is it good?
I only got a little bit of it in my mouth. So I didn't really have a chance to taste it.
All right.
It's too hot right now.
You're too hot? Well,
Okay. Well, you want to taste it?
I'll try, yeah, why not?
All right. So here, you want me to?
We'll switch. I'm going to get a piece of the crust here.
Okay. We'll have a repeat of the spaghetti squash incident. Hot stuff.
That's really good.
Hot and tasty?
Yeah.
All right. So how do you like our pulled together dinner?
Pulled together just fine.
All right.
Pulled harder than pulled pork.
All right, well, thank you again for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. And in the meantime, like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And we'll bring you back for another meal in our household. Have a great evening.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, and neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.